Joining me now on the phone is Dave Jaques. He's the owner and editor of the Roseburg Beacon, a newspaper in the town where the shooting occurred. David, describe this day for me from where you're sitting. What has it been like?
Well, it's been a horrific unfolding of events from the very first call we got this morning about 10:45. What we know at this hour is that there are 13 dead, including one faculty member. The names of any of the victims have not been released, understandably, as the investigation moves forward. It's of such a scale that it's almost hard for our community to take this in. We've talked to some of the students we have no eyewitness accounts yet, but we've talked to students that were there, that were on lockdown when the shooting occurred. I would say this: our law enforcement response to this tragedy was tremendous. I would say no more than 3 to 4 minutes from the initial report, there were officers on the campus. The state police office, by the way, is less than a quarter of a mile from the front door of our college, so that helped in terms of the timing.
David, it's a small community. I get the sense that the tentacles would reach you and others. I mean, if you don't know some of the victims or some of the wounded, you likely know people who do. Describe what that's like for you.
Well, of course, at this point, we don't even know the names of the victims. But, I've raised 5 children in this community of my own. And, by the way, all of them are well-trained in the safe use of firearms. And that's a big part of our culture here. I certainly believe that as these names begin to come out, either I will know some of them or my children that grew up here will know some of the victims. It's just horrific. I can't imagine what these 13 families are going to be going through in the next few days. But, I think one thing that I'm a little disturbed about personally is looking at the president already demagoguing the issue. These people haven't even been identified yet, and we're looking for a political advantage from this. And, I got to point out, this act that happened today is already illegal in the state of Oregon. And so if you think that if he thinks that adding another gun law is going to change the possibility of this happening, the president of UCC today came out and said, well, as of this day forward, the UCC is going to be a gun-free zone. Okay, that's fine. But if you'd had a gun-free zone sign up at the entrance of this campus, would that have stopped this from happening? The answer, of course, is no. So we've got sick, twisted people out there. That's the problem, not the lawful use of firearms by the law-abiding people of America.
David, do you sense that most people in Roseburg would agree with your opinion on that?
I would say if you polled people in the Roseburg, Douglas County area, 90% of them would agree with that statement.
Talk to me about that community and what it's going to be like in the days, weeks to come with multiple funerals and what's your sense about this community rallying around each other?
Well, our community will rally strongly around these families, and I think their resolve will be stronger than ever to keep a safe community, and I think it will also be I think there'll be very strong statements in support of the Second Amendment. I don't think there's going to be any panic, knee-jerk reaction, except for the anti-gun zealots that are already out there. And they, I hate to say it, I'm a little cynical. I think they almost look forward to events like this so they can champion their cause, which is to disarm law-abiding citizens. But, Douglas County is a small community. We've got about 21,000 in the city of Roseburg, but the surrounding cities to the north and south, we got about a 60,000 population within 15, 20 minutes of Roseburg. And, this is a quiet community. We don't have gang violence. We don't have these kinds of disruptive events. So this is a big shockwave, and it's going to take a long time for this to heal.
David, thank you for joining us by phone, and our condolences to you and your community.